So I pulled the fuel gauge. Look how heavy that is. That's very heavy duty cast. So there's nothing wrong with the gauge. Look how thick the gasket is. It's a really nice rubber gasket. The gauge is top notch. So what's wrong with it is the flange is really warped. I mean, this is 40 some years old. The surface is really warped where it screws down with the 5 screws. So what we're going to do to make it smoother is we're going to use some plastic bonder, and you mix it in a milk jug cap with a popsicle stick. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrape it. I'm going to scrape it even now with a paint scraper. You got a 15-minute set timer, so I better get going. So I'm going to scrape it smooth, and it's going to fill in all the depressions between the screws and make the surface. I sanded it with sandpaper first so that it bonds. So now I'm going to scrape it smooth so that we have a nice smooth finish, and then we'll let it cure overnight, and then we'll reattach the gauge with the 5 screws. So that's how I would fix it. And you were talking about warranty work. This is not something we did. We just screwed in the fuel tank with the new gasket before. We never messed with getting the flange smooth. So we got the surface flange on the tank. 3 layers of plastic bonder. And then I scraped it with a scraper that was wider than the openings, because we had big dips between the screw holes on the plastic. And it turned out really nice. So then I put the fuel gauge back in it with its gasket. Look how thick the gasket is. And then on these screws, so these screws go into enclosed, isolated, so the plastic is closed where the screw goes into. And some of them will almost look like they puncture through their side of their enclosure in the plastic. So when I put the screws in, I put some Seal All in each hole. This is really good stuff. This is Seal All. This is an adhesive basically for gas tanks. So you want to fix a leak in a gas tank or something. It cures really fast. In about 5 minutes, it already starts to really harden up. This is really good stuff. So as I was putting the screws in, you could already feel it gelling up and getting hard. So we'll swish her around. The tank is almost full of gas. So I'm going to let it cure for a few hours. I got some more stuff to do here. He wants me to see if I can put a smaller steering on it. And we'll let this cure some more time, and then I'll take her out later. The gas level is only 2 inches from the top, so it'll swish up against this, and I'll see if it's leak proof in a few hours here. But I'm going to do some other stuff for him too. Already adjusted the throttle. For some reason, the throttle clamp wasn't really tight, and so it pulled back and wasn't revving all the way up. So I got that already adjusted and tightened down better. And I saw this hydraulic leak here on this, where this hose goes to the oil cooler. I guess when we put new hoses on, we didn't quite tighten it enough. So I'm going to power wash this whole area again. The cowl is off. It'll make it easy. And so I got that hose tightened with the leak. And that's how it is when you do a full restore on something. You always have a few more things afterwards. Got the air filter bays outside. I got a pressure wash when I washed that more just now. The air filter was a real mess. Look at that intake. This thing is sucking dust somehow. You should not get this much dust past the air filter. See all that in that throat that goes into the carburetor. Wow. Wow, oh wow. I don't know if the filter doesn't have a good enough seal around the outside or what. There's a lot of dust here. I'm going to go I'm going to get that throat clean with a nice rag. And I'm going to put a plastic bag in it and go out and pressure wash this whole top of the engine and underneath where I fixed that leak. And yeah, that filter was a real bad mess. The oil is really dirty on it too. But I guess it is the oil that we put into it after we rebuilt the engine, so the oil should probably be replaced anyway. But it shouldn't get this dirty. I think it's so dirty because it's sucking junk in.